Alrighty, fellas, welcome back to Week 18 in the NFL season. We have a doubleheader on Saturday as well as Sunday plays. This video is going to look a little bit different than it normally does because I am going to be going over both slates instead of one at a time. Since the games are back-to-back, Saturday, Sunday, I felt like it would be better to do one big video than to do two separate videos because there's just not much to really be betting on today or tomorrow. As the incentives are a little bit all over the place and the lines aren't entirely out yet, and they're not going to be out until about the day of. So I want to make sure I get this video out in front of that. So I'm going to go over the few lines that I do have before then, go over some ideas that I'm going to be spitting. This is probably going to be a little bit longer of a video because I'm going to be going over pretty much all of my thoughts on this NFL slate. But we're going to be starting out with Saturday's games. We're going to waste no time and hop straight into them. We are going to be leaning, and now again, the Ravens do have to play for seeding, so that is something. Meanwhile, Cleveland is playing absolutely nobodies. But we are going to be taking Justin Tucker to go over 3.5 extra points. I feel like this is going to be an easy lock, right? The Ravens have obviously a chip on their shoulder to clinch the division. They don't want to be a lower seeding. So I think this is going to be a game where they're going to just come out and score a ton of points on a Cleveland team that is resting most of their starters. They're pretty much trying to tank. It seems like that's their goal. Tucker's hit this 3 of the last 5 games this season, and the offense has put up over 30 points in 3 of those games. Not only that, but right now, let's just be real. They're starting Bailey Zappi for this game. This could be 3 defensive touchdowns, let alone 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns in general. I think they're easily going to crush this mark. I think Baltimore's going to run up the score. It's going to be like 40-14. It's not going to be a fun game to watch. It's not going to be a fun game to bet on. And that's really all I got for the Ravens-Browns game, as it's going to be a blowout, as the spread is 20.5, which is absolutely fucking wild. Yeah, so I think it's going to be an absolute blowout. Starters versus non-starters just isn't a good combo. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. We do have a good amount of bets here. For the Joe Burrow lines, I like his 2.5 touchdown passes. It's not on Underdog as of right now, but it will be on Underdog. It's just plus money, so it takes a little bit longer to get on there. But again, we're going to ride the hot quarterback's hand. Obviously, he's been smashing this line in 5 of the last 5 games and throwing 3 touchdowns earlier in this season against the Steelers. Obviously, that was a shootout of a game. I think we could see another shootout of a game. I like Bengals money line as well. That's another play I am taking. I like Bengals money line in this game as well as the Joe Burrow play. But the Steelers defense has fallen off. 3 of the last 5 quarterbacks have 3 for 3 plus touchdowns, and 2 of them threw for 2. Joe Burrow obviously is right now playing as the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't really care what you say about Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or whoever the fuck. Joe Burrow as a quarterback is playing the best football you could possibly play. He's thrown for over 3 touchdowns in 4 of the last 5 away games. And Joe Burrow right now technically could be the MVP if this team was better. Burrow's thrown 27 passing touchdowns against man coverage, which is the 4th most of any player since 2018. And the Steelers run a heavy man coverage as they run at the 7th highest rate this season. Again, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, man coverage. Jamar's line is literally set at 94.5. So they're expecting a big day, and I expect them to have a big day. As Joe Burrow's line is also set at 284.5 passing yards. I think he crushes that mark as well as the 2.5 passing touchdowns. The other play I like in this game is George Pickens to go over 66.5 receiving yards. I think this is a great spot to get Pickens, right? He's finally coming off his 2nd game. He's back healthy. First game I was weary. We took his under. We cashed. 2nd game I'm feeling a little bit better, right? I was worried because I didn't know how he would look in game 1. In game 1, he looked good. He looked honestly way healthier than I thought he would for a hamstring injury. Now he's going to come back and keep soaring over this mark. He's hit this mark in 5 of the last 7 games. And with Wilson as his quarterback, he plays even better than that, right? If we go to without players and we go to Russell Wilson. With Russell Wilson this season, he's hit this in 5 of 7 games, averaging 76.7 yards per game. Obviously, against Kansas City, he had an over. He really did hit the over, but it got called back. He had a 17-yard reception called back late in the 4th quarter. So, again, you feel good about this. He had 74 yards against this Bengals team earlier this season, so I expect him to have something similar here today. And, again, I think it's going to be a shootout of a game. Both these teams need to win this game, Pittsburgh for seeding and Cincy to get in the race in general. I think they're going to throw a lot of balls. It's going to be a high-scoring game. And Pickens leads all players in both receptions and receiving yards off 20-plus air yard passes this season, hauling in 15 passes for 515 yards. The Bengals give up the 8th most deep passes to wide receivers, and you expect Pickens to just absolutely cook him deep. That's pretty much my analysis there. He's seeing the targets, obviously 7, 6, 7, 12, 7. You love those targets as well. So we should see a pretty high day. And again, I'm also taking the Bengals money line with these plays. And again, I'm also adding the Joe Burrow 2.5 passing touchdowns. So also, since this is just like a cool video, and if you guys are here to listen to me I'll give you this. I'm taking Derrick Henry to score the first touchdown because someone has to score the first touchdown, and I think it's going to be all on the ground here. I think Derrick Henry is going to easily get in for the first score of Cleveland-Baltimore, so those are kind of my picks for the Saturday's games, and this is why I didn't make it 2 videos because it would be like a 5-minute fucking video. But we're going to the other games that have incentives, and the first game that has an incentive that we all know about, everybody and their mother knows about, Mike Evans needing 5 receptions and 85 yards to cash in $3 million and 1,000 yards. Obviously, they set his line way higher. They did this on purpose. Obviously, if they set it at 85.5, everybody and their fucking mom would hit it because Baker's going to make sure he gets it. I think Baker's still going to make sure he gets it, and I think he's going to go a little bit over that, and I think he's going to see into the 100-yard marker. He has to get over 5.5 receptions, so he has to see 6 receptions. Baker's talked about acknowledging it before, and I think he's going to continue to do that today. Mike Evans should easily see a big day. Obviously, he's playing a Saints defense that is just decimated and is fucking horrible right now. So I expect this Tampa Bay team to kind of walk all over them, and they have to, again, to get in the playoffs. They need to win, and they need the Falcons to lose to make sure they lock up their spot in the playoffs. Washington and Dallas, this game really has nothing outside a little bit of a seeding. So I don't think Washington's even going to play their starters for half this game. So that's kind of chalked. Atlanta, Carolina, this matters for Atlanta. Obviously not for Carolina, but Carolina's going to play for heart like they have the entire time. I'm going to lean Bijan to go over 94.5 rushing yards. I absolutely love this spot for Bijan. 5 of the last 5 running backs to face Carolina. We can even look at this for shits and giggles. 5 of the last 5 running backs to face Carolina have gone over 100 rushing yards. It is insane. And to be getting Bijan here, you feel great about it. He's obviously seen crazy volume, especially since Penix took over 26, 22, 22, 17. You feel good about him getting the ton of attempts there. His rush attempt line right now is 19.5, so you expect him to see around 20 carries. And look at this. Bucky Irving, 113 rushing yards. James Conner, 117 rushing yards. Rico Dow, 150 rushing yards. Saquon Barkley, 124 rushing yards. Bucky Irving, 152 rushing yards. So that is 5 starters in a row. So Rashad White's not a starter. 5 starters in a row to hit over 100 rushing yards on this squad. Not a hot look if you are Carolina. Not hot at all. That is clearly the worst rushing defense of all time, maybe. That is quite literally horrific. If you go to running backs, I think it is just last. Yep, dead last, as it should be. Bijan already had, how many yards was it in the first time they played? 95 rushing yards the first time they played. I expect him to easily have something similar, if not more than that. If you want to take Bijan 2 touchdowns, you can do that as well. He's going to absolutely kill this Panthers team. We just can't stop any fucking running back. It doesn't matter who they are. And the Falcons have such a good running scheme. I expect him to crush this mark as well. The next running back we're going to go over that also has an incentive is a Charger going against the Raiders. That's J.K. Dobbins over 75.5 yards. He needs 58 yards to cash in a $450,000 check. I think he goes way over that. This team obviously needs this game for seeding, and it's a big seeding implications. As if they win, they can get up to the 5th seed. If they get the 5th seed, they're going to end up playing Houston, which would be the easiest cupcake that they could possibly have. Otherwise, they might face the Ravens, the Bills, whoever the fuck that they just don't. The Chiefs, they can't play the Chiefs. They just don't want to face. They don't want to face that path. They don't want to go through the Bills, the Ravens, any of those teams. Don't want to have to do that. So the Chargers are going to want that 5th seed to make sure they play Houston, which means 75.5 rush yards for JK should be a lock as they're going to crush this team, but they're probably going to keep their starters in for most of the game, and I think he's going to run all over this Vegas team once again like he did the first time when he had 135 rushing yards. He's also going to see the attempts. Obviously, again, he needs 58 for those for the incentives, but he had 19 carries last game. I expect something similar again here today. He obviously doesn't have a rush attempt lined up. It's just kind of up right now. But you can see he's seeing normally 14 to 15 carries a game on average. There also is no Gus Edwards. There's no Kamani Vidal. He's literally like their only back right now. So, yeah, that's also important to note. Heading to our next game, we are going to go. I'm going to actually like skip around here. We're going to go to Minnesota, Detroit. I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs over 89.5 rushing yards. You can get him at 87.5 on a few books. And on Underdog, we can take him at 89.5 rushing yards. Okay, so you're fine. But again, him being the solo back in this offense, there's no David Montgomery. The last time they played this team, he also had no David Montgomery, and he rushed for 116 rushing yards. Not only that, but he broke a 45-yard rush. I'm going to be completely honest. I lied to you. I'm not even taking 89.5 rushing yards. I'm taking his 60.5 longest rush. What am I fucking doing, Gut? I literally have it in my notes right in front of my face. I was just editing a video for JMO who said 89.5 rushing yards, but 60.5 longest rush is what we're going to take. 12 of 16 games this season. He's broken a big one damn near every single game. 45-yard rush against this Minnesota team. Last time they played, I get the stats look great for Minnesota. They're such a good running defense. They're not. They give up fucking big plays constantly. Josh Jacobs missed this by half a yard last time they played. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet have kind of just fucking folded the second half of the season. DeAndre Swift for a 17-yard rush on them. Bijan had 13.5. James Conner had a 16-yard rush on them. DeAndre Swift fucking stinks. The fact that he had a 17-yard rush the first time is shocking. We're going back into November, October here. And again, Jahmyr Gibbs already had a 45-yard rush. Last time they played, it is pretty much they mug the defense. When they run a double mug, you can run outside power, outside zone. You can run fucking ISO. Whenever you mug the line of scrimmage, you are leaving so many gaps unaccounted for at the second level. And Jahmyr Gibbs is a dangerous runner, and that is why he had a 45 rush yard the first time they played. He also had a 20-yard rushing attempt that game as well. So I think he's going to absolutely crush this line like he has all season long. 16 games, 12 times he's hit the over. 2 of the 3 times he's played Minnesota in his career, he's hit the over. He's going to break one. I'm telling you. He's going to break one. Anyway, he's also going to see a ton of attempts in this game. He's probably going to see literally like 23 attempts. What's his attempt line at? I don't know. It's not set up yet. Rush attempt line is at 18.5. So if he sees 19 carries, yeah, he's gonna crush that line. Heading to our last play already. Alrighty, how you doing? Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, also the fun shit down below. I appreciate you guys tuning into this. So for our last play, we're gonna go to another incentive player. Also, by the way, side note, love Blake Corum in this game. They haven't officially announced that they're not starting their starters. They won't probably know that until Saturday. But once Blake Corum's line comes out, slam it to the fucking moon. It is going. I'm going to put a lot of units on that. Blake Corum should cook. But the other player we're going to need is Courtland Sutton. 72.5 receiving yards is a must win game for Denver. If they don't win, they're not in the playoffs. If they do win, they're in the playoffs. It is that simple. So, aka, this is a playoff game for them. And Courtland Sutton needs 82 receiving yards for $2 million. I'm not going to be the one to say when they're playing a backup Kansas City defense that he's not going to hit this. I think they're going to pass the ball a lot in this game. It's even the backups for Kansas City. They still have a really sound run fits, and they're still very good in the run game. So I think they're going to still have a tougher time running the ball, but I think Denver's going to sling it. Bo Nix should have a big game. Courtland Sutton's going to cash his incentive of 82 receiving yards to make up $2 million. Doll hairs. So I think he's going to absolutely crush that mark. Outside of that, he's been hitting this line at a very consistent rate. As you guys can see over the past second, obviously the first half of the season, he did fucking dog water. But since the second half of the season, he's been crushing this mark. He missed this in 3 of the last 3 games, so that would be really your only concern. But the targets are still there, 9, 6, and 9. So I'm not really too worried about it. He just hasn't had the huge chunk plays. As you can see, receiving long has only been 20, 18, 15, comparatively to 37, 33, 32. And I think this game against a Kansas City defense, it's susceptible to obviously long passes down the field. I think he can easily see a big one and maybe even hit this in damn near like 2 or 3 catches. But on the safe side, I still like his 72.5 receiving yards. I feel like he's in a great spot with a great incentive. I think Bo Nix is going to know his incentive, and I think they're going to be up pretty big in this game against backups against Kansas City. Obviously, Carson Wentz is starting for Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it could be out of hand pretty fast, and Denver to easily get Courtland Sutton the rock enough times to hit this line. I think Bo Nix also want to have passing touchdowns is another good shout. This game is a fucking watch and a half. Friday morning, I'm looking at it. Friday morning, normally when you look at lines, I guess it's because of week 18. But normally Friday morning when you look at lines, there's everything up. Damn near everything is fucking up. Almost everything is up. You just might not get those like long ball touchdown stuff, but that's fine. But normally everything is up. And there's just nothing up because no one knows who's going to play. So there's just not a lot to work with right now. But the things I am working with, you see the plays. You know what we're fucking taking. You know we're locking in. If you could take a Josh Allen lower on anything, do it. I think he's literally going to come in for one snap. Just because he wants to keep his starting game, consecutive game streak going. I think that's his whole like incentive of even suiting up for this game. So I genuinely think he's going to see one snap and leave. So if you could take his lowers on anything, it's going to be set at like 20 yards passing. Set his lowers for something, and I think it'll be an easy cash. I can look right now on Pickett on my thing to see if Josh Allen has any lines. No, he doesn't. Not right now. But if he ever does in the next few days, just saying, that's what I would take. That's what I would lean. Giants, Philly, wash. Saquon's not playing, or else I'd be super excited about that. But they're not, sadly. Chicago, Green Bay means something for Green Bay for seeding-wise, but I don't think it means enough to where they're going to be, like, sweating their dicks off to win this game. Yeah, you see the plays on the board. You know what I got. You see what I like. You see what I don't like. How you down. Pretty simple. Pretty cut and dry here. I feel like I'm missing some plays up there that I have. I also, again, I'm taking Joe Burrow over 2.5 passing touchdowns. So, again, lock in all those plays with Bengals money line. Sprinkle it in. I think they're going to have the whole thing where they control their whole destiny, and then they win the game, and then Denver wins, and it doesn't matter. That's my kind of prediction. But we'll see what happens, and we'll see how everything unfolds. I appreciate all you guys watching and tuning into this episode. And make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun shit down below, and I will see you guys for, oh shit, what is the next time I'm seeing you? Playoffs. Yeah, we're seeing playoffs. College football, I'll probably have a video out as well. We absolutely got fucking butt fucked this weekend in college football, but we'll try to not do that next week. Yeah, some big games though, some exciting games. Player props we did fine. Money lines I sucked. So we'll see if I can cash money lines and player props next week instead of only cashing player props and no money lines. But we'll see what happens, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.